In this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not you should sell your home sight unseen. Hey, I'm Eric Peterson. I'm the broker owner of Kopa Real Estate right here in Austin, Texas. And this is a big question that we're being asked with everything going on in the pandemic and all of the people who are relocating into our area. We're seeing a huge increase in the number of offers that we're getting from sight unseen buyers. And first off, let me explain what that means. Sight unseen means where at least one of the decision makers has not physically been inside your house and been able to see everything about your home. And whenever we receive an offer that's sight unseen, our clients always ask us what they should do. Their big concern is that they're going to go under contract with a buyer who hasn't seen the house, and then that buyer is going to cancel the contract when they come and see it in person. And so there's absolutely no right or wrong answer and no cookie cutter formula, but here are the things that we walk through when we're thinking about making a recommendation to our clients about whether you should accept an offer sight unseen on your home. The first thing we want to think about is anybody else interested at that price? I know myself, whenever I'm doing anything financial, and if there's more risk involved, then I want to be compensated for that risk. And when you're accepting an offer sight unseen, there definitely is more risk involved there. So you might want to look at it and say, well, okay, maybe I've got two offers and maybe the offer that's sight unseen is significantly better than the other offer. Or maybe you don't have an offer at all, right? But what we would always do is take a look at that and see, okay, is the risk worth the extra sales price that you're getting? The other thing that we want to look at is maybe the sight unseen offer is up here and the other offer where the couple has seen the house is down here. Well, in that case, we also might want to try to get that other offer up to the same sales price as the sight unseen offer, right? So we want to look at that and compare to see if you're actually getting a little bit of extra amount of money for the possible risk that you're taking. The next question we're going to ask is, how long has the house been on the market? Okay. If your home has only been on the market on Friday and we're already getting an offer that's sight unseen, it may be too early to take that offer, because what we definitely don't want to do is we don't want to take the house off the market for a sight unseen buyer, have them then show up to see your house on Monday where we haven't been showing the house to anybody else because it's already been under contract, and then that buyer terminating the contract. And there where we are now, it's Monday afternoon, we got to start all over again. So we have to take a look at that. The sellers have to lean on our experience as well and knowing, okay, how much demand are we already seeing in the property? Where's the property located? Do we expect that we're going to get other offers or another offer at a similar price that would preclude us from really wanting to go forward with that offer right away? Now, this is a different story if your home has been on the market for a few weeks and we don't have anybody else that's interested in making an offer. At that point, it's probably worth exploring this a little bit more seriously. We'll also want to know why the buyer is interested in your home in the neighborhood. Perhaps they've already seen that floor plan several times. Maybe they missed out in multiple offers on another home that's almost the exact same as yours. Maybe they have other friends that live in the neighborhood, so they've already got an attraction to your neighborhood and they're familiar with the homes in the neighborhood. You know, I just sold a home a couple of weeks ago to a couple that was relocating here from Florida, and it turned out that their kids already lived in the neighborhood. So in that case, the kids had come over, they met with me at an open house, and that gave the buyers more comfort to move forward to the property, and it gave me a lot more comfort in recommending that we go forward with that offer as well, because we knew that family already had other family who was living in the neighborhood. So in that case, because of that attraction to the neighborhood, we knew that offer was probably a little bit more of a sure thing than something else that might just be sight unseen. Something else that's important is to find out if either we have done a virtual walkthrough with the buyer or perhaps the buyer's agent has done a virtual walkthrough with the buyer. So much of the marketing that we're doing nowadays is virtual, where the buyers can really do almost their own 3D tour, walk through the house themselves, and you get the feeling that, hey, they don't really need to see the house in person. But in reality, that's not always how it works. And so a buyer might look at things on a 3D tour, but in that case, they might not really be seeing all of the blemishes in the home and some of those blemishes might be deal breakers to them. So if it's something where we've been able to do the walkthrough or their agent has been able to, and where the buyer can ask questions and get more details and really get more close-ups of specific parts of the house, maybe even measurements a little bit better than they might on the 3D tours, that gives us a better feeling that that maybe they'll be a little bit more solid buyer for you than somebody else who's maybe only just seen pictures and doesn't have all that information. You know, I know we've sold many homes in cases like this where we've done walkthroughs with the buyers or the buyer's agents have done walkthroughs, and so a lot of that just comes down to whether we're comfortable in that situation or not. When considering a sight unseen offer, it's very important that we find out when will the buyer be coming to see the home in person. Because here's the thing, is that the contracts in Texas, the standard contracts, are very buyer friendly. Most of the contracts come with a termination period where the buyer can cancel the contract for any reason. And so if the buyer's coming maybe 2 days after getting a contract accepted, that might not be the end of the world if we don't have other interests, because if for some reason the buyer comes and they don't like your house, well, we can go right back on the market immediately, and there's not a whole lot of harm in that. Now, the flip side of this is that if the buyer is coming to see the property the day before closing for that final walkthrough, that can be a little bit more concerning, because now we've taken the house off the market for 30, 45 days, and they might show up and decide, oh, you know, we're really picky about this or that, and we didn't know this, we didn't know that, and now we want to cancel the contract. And of course you're going to ask, well, you know, in that situation we get to keep their earnest money and all that. Well, that may or may not be true, but keep in mind that the goal is to sell the house. It's not to get into this dispute over earnest money or even get the earnest money in the first place, right? Because that doesn't do you as much good as just getting the house sold. Keep in mind, a lot of times the buyer or the buyer agent will say that they're not going to visit the property all until after closing. That almost never happens. We have buyers tell us that all the time, and they always come and show up at the house to do a walkthrough or at least see the house before closing. So it's not likely that that's really going to happen in the real world. Now, probably the most important thing to see how serious a buyer is about your home is the amount of option money and to some extent the earnest money that they're offering in the contract that they make with you. Option money is what the buyer gives you in order to have this termination period. And so the option money gets paid to you, and you get to keep that money whether the buyer goes through with the transaction or not. And so that's the real sign or real signal that the buyer really likes your house and they're serious about going forward and closing it. You know, if we get a buyer that's offering us $100 for a 10-day termination period, well, we know they're just dipping their toes in the water. They might even be making offers on 3-4 properties and then deciding, once they figure out which ones they get under contract, then they're going to decide which ones they want to buy. Well, that may be good for the buyer, but that's not good for you as the home seller. And so we want to see that option money to be pretty punitive, where if they're doing it, making an offer sight unseen, that they're not just wasting your time, that they really are serious about buying your house. Whether the buyer has seen your house or not, real estate right now has become very challenging, and there's so many different aspects of the offers and contracts and the entire transactions that are different than we've ever seen before. It's very important, whether you're dealing with a sight unseen offer or anything else that used to be more out of the ordinary, that you have a listing broker working for you that understands all this and has been around the block and has pretty much seen it all, so that they can walk you through all of these scenarios and give you a few things to talk about so that you can make the best decision for your situation. Whenever you're ready to talk about selling your home, give me a call directly at 512-791-7473. Thanks for watching and take care.